What is the crack? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you're new here, my name is the Rusty Bartender, and I run a mobile bar business here in Australia. In this video, I'm going to share with you things that I've learned along the way. Some good things and some bad things, but hopefully, because you're watching this video, you might be able to learn something. This is actually part 2 of the video. I'll leave the link in the description below of part 1. Part 1 is pretty popular. I think it's got over 30,000 views at the minute on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, we do videos on how to run your mobile bar business, and we also do cocktail videos. Also check out our website, www.therustybartender.com. We've got articles about the mobile bar business and lots of hints, tips, and recipes there too. But anyway, let's get started. And the first thing I'm going to talk about in this video is communication. Specifically, we're going to be talking about communication with your customers. So when somebody hires you for their event, they're trusting you to be part of their big day. So it's your job to make sure the expectations are crystal clear from the start. And what I mean by that is when somebody hires you for their event, they already have it in their head what they imagine it to be like. Now, your service might be completely different to what they have in their head. So it's your job to communicate with them to get exactly what they want. Because when they get exactly what they want, you're going to get an awesome review. Word of mouth spreads, you're going to get more business from it. So it's a win-win for both parties. So basically what I do when I'm talking to a customer for the first time is I'll open a Word document on my computer, and you want to record everything that's pretty much said in that conversation. You want to make sure you're getting the event date right, location, guest count, what's going to be included in your package that you're selling them. How do you want service to be? Is it a sit-down service? Are you going to be serving just from the bar? Will there be cocktails? Will there not be cocktails? And especially if you've got a mobile bar, like if you're serving out of a trailer or a van, don't forget to discuss things like vehicle access, power supply. If there's no power supply, you're going to have to bring a generator. Is there going to be shade for the bar area? You might need to bring extra fans. Just take everything into account. The more information you can get at this stage, the better it is on the day, because you're not going to be less stressed, because there's not going to be any big surprises that are going to mess up your day. Okay, I'm going to take a big sip of coffee here because this is something that happened to me about communication this year, and it really annoyed me, but I've got a solution. So when taking potential bookings, I'm talking about the stage where a customer has just emailed you and they've asked, are you free on a specific date? I didn't realize until this year that communication here plays a huge part in the overall business experience for that customer as well. Like, I already knew it was important, but I didn't realize that I had to set boundaries at the stage as well, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So I have spoke about this point in a previous video, but it's probably one of the most important things that happened this year. So anyway, I had a customer contact me, and in their original email, they wanted to book a Christmas party for a specific date. Now, in this email, all they asked was the date free? There was no other communication before this. That was it. Is that date free? So I sent an email back pretty much straight away, as I always do. Explained that the date was free. And in that email, I explained what we do, what services we provide, and that to book these services, you need to pay a deposit. All pretty simple, straightforward so far, yeah? Anyway, about 3 weeks went by, and another totally different customer came to me and asked, could they book the same date that the previous customer had asked was free? And I said, yeah, it's free. And they got back to me pretty much on the same day and said, right, want to book it, here's the deposit, all good. But that previous customer who had asked, was that date free in the first place, got back to me 2 days after this and said, oh, I would like to book you for that date. So I sent them an email back apologizing, saying, sorry, that date is already booked. And they got back to me and they were very angry, saying that I should have let them know. And they were very angry. They said I should have let them know that we were talking to other potential customers about that same date, and that they couldn't believe that I had given away the date that they had asked about, and that it was really bad business practice by me. Now in my head at the time, I thought, whoa, this person never even got back to me for 3 weeks. And literally they only emailed about asking, was that date free in the first place? So from my perspective, I had done nothing wrong, really. When I started thinking about it, I thought, geez, how could I have made that experience better for that customer? And what I should have done from the start is, in the very first email that I send people now, because this has changed the way we've taken bookings completely now. So in the very first email that I will send a customer after their potential inquiry, I let them know from the start that we are potentially talking to other customers about the same date that you may be trying to book. And if you want that date booked, you need to pay the deposit. Now, I never thought I would have had to have literally explained that to someone, but this is where we are now. So I think it's pretty sad that this had to be done, but I'm now thinking it just gives peace of mind, for me anyway, for dealing with potential new customers and how they can view our business. So now there's no confusion. It's like, if you want this date, we're actually talking to other customers about the same date. If you want it, pay the deposit. That's the way it is. There's no confusion there. And I have to point out too that it did actually say you have to pay a deposit to confirm booking on our website, which they said they had read anyway in the first place. So, okay, second thing on my list is logistics. So basically, whenever I take a booking, first thing I do is I get up Google Maps and I find out the location, find out exactly how long it's going to take me to get there. And you want to have a really, really good idea before you get to any event where your bar is going to be placed. Like, if you can get the customer to send you pictures on your phone of the exact location where you're going to be, this solves a lot of hassle, a lot of problems. Like, if your mobile bar is like a horse float or like a mobile caravan like we've got, now you can get to events where the event's actually at a rural property, and to get to that rural property, you're going up like steep inclines that are like that, like straight up. You might have like your glassware packed in the back of the van, and it might be falling all over the place. So if you know there's going to be tricky roads and stuff like that, then you can pack accordingly. But if you haven't, and that pops up, you're going to be in a world of trouble. So you definitely want to be checking if there's going to be uneven ground, narrow driveways. You just need to double check your venue access in advance. And also keep an eye on the weather too. If it's been raining for like a few weeks, you know the ground's going to be boggy. You know what you're going to be in for, basically. But these are things that you're going to learn along the way. And if you already have a mobile bar, then you know that you got to be ready for anything. So pretty much that applies. If you've got mobile bar, trailer, horse float, caravan, even just a foldable bar, just check that you're going to be able to maneuver that foldable bar into a location. Is it going to fit through the door? I mean, you need to figure these things out. before you get there. And adding to this, the most important thing you can do is bring a toolkit. You won't believe the amount of times that a toolkit will come in handy for things. I mean, if you've got a horse float or a caravan, you know yourself that you need a toolkit. Things break, like all the time. We went to an event with our vintage caravan and the tow bar winch. As I was twisting the lever and raising the level of the caravan, snapped right off. And we were in the middle of nowhere. Luckily, my toolkit kind of fixed this at the time. I was able to put a screwdriver through the hole of the tow bar hitch. I was able to use that to wind it up. But if I didn't have that toolkit at the time, I would have been screwed. As I'm reading through this list, I'm thinking, these are all like sort of negative things I'm talking about, but there's one pretty positive thing right at the end I'll talk about. So this next one isn't really a negative thing, although it could be seen as a negative thing. I'm going to talk about cash flow for your business. So just be very mindful of cash flow, because there will be a certain point during the year where all your expenses seem to come at once. And for my business, that time seems to be around Christmas time and New Year's. And people out there who don't have a mobile bar business yet might be thinking, but sure, there's lots of money in this. I'll be raking it in. And sure, you will, hopefully. But just be mindful of cash flow, because in my business at Christmas time, we have to pay for our business registration, van insurance, car insurance, public liability insurance. We've got website fees, license registrations. Let me tell you, none of that stuff is cheap, and each one of those adds up. So depending on what time of year it is, this can be very challenging, because you might think you've got a decent little stockpile of money in your bank account, and then all these fees will come at once, and then you're left with not much left over for that month. So just be very mindful of that, especially if you've got like a couple of festivals coming up and you need to buy a lot of alcohol for those festivals to go there. You just want to make sure that you've got enough money in your bank account to cover that. Okay, the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video is connections. The connections that you make during an event. So this is a good thing. And this is something that you can control. Because if you're given brilliant service at an event, what you're doing is essentially you're marketing your business for future events. Like if you go to a wedding, you're part of people's happiest memories of their life, basically. And if you're part of that connection and everybody's having a great time, they will remember you as being part of that. You'll be surprised the amount of future business that you will get from a wedding. People, make sure you have your business cards there, because people just pick them up and they're like, yep, when I'm getting married, I want that at my wedding. And it's not just weddings, it's birthdays, celebrations, even corporate events. If you're doing a good job, you're marketing yourself well. It's rewarding, and you can build a pretty much solid reputation just through word of mouth alone. And as we all know, word of mouth and Google reviews are pretty much all the marketing you need to have a successful business. Anyway, that's all I've got for part 2. If you want to see a part 3, let me know in the comments. Because as my business grows, I am still learning things that I never knew before. And if I can learn, I can tell you what I've learned. Does that make sense? And I will tell you the good things and the bad things, because it's from the bad things that we can learn from. Anyway, cheers folks, and I'll see you on the next one.